Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Happiness Retreat. I am your host, Kimberly Treves, and today we have the good fortune to be in conversation with my dear friend and colleague, the beautiful and multi talented LaShonda Herring, who is a leader and trainer with 2 degrees, a BA in psychology, and a master's in social work, and over 10 certifications, including Reiki, the law of attraction, and hypnosis, which she incorporates to help creative and spiritual entrepreneurs build a business and life of their joy, and an intuitive healer who offers fabulous chakra opening work and the force. Hello, LaShonda, and thank you so much for taking your time to share with us today.
Oh, I am super excited about being here, Kimberly. Thank you so much for inviting me. This is going to be so much fun.
Absolutely. As this conversation is all about spirituality and the soul and becoming the master of your own energy, I'm so happy that you are here to share with us how the force is a vehicle for transformation. So, LaShonda, please tell us a little bit about your background, your education, and what prompted you to become interested in this lovely field and business that you have created.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I started, years ago in the field of social work psychology, helping other people. Always knew I wanted to make an impact in the world. And so traditional school says, you go get those kind of degrees and you help people kind of solve their problems. But as I grew and as I got older and in my 20s, I realized there's a whole nother component. Even though I had had a religious background, gone to spiritual schools, there was still something kind of missing, even working with the clients. And I found a Native American tribe and ventured there and did ceremonies with them. And then that led me to other teachings, other classes. And I felt like, oh, my world is finally opening up. And this has totally enhanced my work with the different certifications I have, with meeting the other spiritual gurus out there, has really added a foundation, because it's not just now working with the person, it's working with their soul and their spirit as well.
Lovely. That's lovely. So, how long did you were you on this shamanic journey?
Lifetime, honestly. I feel like I'm always every year adding to my medicine bag, I call it.
Mhm.
I keep doing things. The last major thing I did was a sacred woman training. And that was very intense. And it was 12 weeks of really structuring my life, starting out my day with spiritual principles, practices, what I ate, all the way to what I thought and how I ran my day. So every year I'm adding to that. So then I can be my better self to serve my clients better.
That is so great and interesting. Your clients, a lot of them come to you for business education and assistance, and here you have this all built on this lovely foundation of your connection to your spirit, your soul, and what the universe has to offer.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I call it the force because, I'm one of those sci-fi geeks. So I geek out on Star Wars, Star Trek, the superheroes. So, it really is about that force, that life energy, because everything we do comes from there. I believe that we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So if we don't tap into that spiritual side, our life is going to feel way out of balance. It's going to feel hard. It's going to be this struggle. And we need to do that. We need to figure out ways of connecting to spirit and being in alignment.
Oh, that is so beautiful. So this force is what runs through all of creation then? Like literally all of creation?
Every single thing, all the way to rocks. I have children, and when they're picking up rocks, I said, that's grandfather. You've got to honor that, and you've got to ask, can I remove you from your home? The energy runs throughout every single component and piece and thing you do. Think about it, a chair. At some point, that was energy, that was an idea, that was a thought, and someone made it tangible. So it runs into everything we do. And we sometimes forget that because we're so busy being tangible and human that we forget the power of the force of energy, of the life force that works through our chakras, as well as all the other components of our life.
So if someone hasn't heard of this concept or doesn't even, um, just this is the first time I hear your words,
Uh-huh.
but like, why should I really care about the force?
Well, absolutely. Here's the thing. If you feel like you're struggling in life, like life feels hard, or you're stuck in a pattern in a rut, 9 times out of 10, you're not listening to the force. You're not listening to the divine, because we get signs and signals all the time to make our life easier. And think about it, the divine is universal wisdom, knows all answers. So it's better than Google. So think about this. If it's so powerful and has the answers, why wouldn't I go there to say, how do I do this simpler? How do I make this easier? How do I find my peace? How do I find my joy? That's what that connection and alignment is all about, and why it's so important. So you don't have to struggle so much. So you don't have to stay in the rut, and your beautiful, magnificent self can shine.
Wow. So it sounds incredible that there's all of this power and joy waiting for us when we connect and align with the force. But how do we align with the force?
Right? Because it all sounds good and it's out there.
Yeah,
So,
right?
yeah, but here's the thing, there's so many different ways that we can do this. Some people talk about, connecting to the force, spirit, God, through meditation,
Mhm.
which is a beautiful thing. And there's a vast many ways of meditating. There's other ways of, like, I talk about the chakras, and I talk about the 7 main chakras we have in our body. We have more than that, but basically they're centers, and they're different parts and different areas of our body that really help energy flow and help that life force energy flow. And when they're flowing properly, we feel good. We feel energized, we feel focused, we feel centered. We can do the things that we love to do and we were born to do. So when we're in alignment, things come with ease, and also information.
Mm.
Because when I'm centered and focused, if I'm thinking about, well, what do I really want to do? Or how do I solve this problem? If I'm in alignment and connected, that answer comes. I'm able to hear it beyond the clutter and the crazy that's going on. I have a way of tapping into it. And that's really important because the information's always there. We just
Mhm.
sometimes don't know how to align and tap into it. So it's always at our disposal.
So is that something that you help your clients do? Do you help them learn how to align?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, it's a must. It's one of those first things that I teach people to do, because one of the things I want you to be is to be the guru of your life.
Mm.
And to do that, you have to know how to do these things for yourself. So we've got to figure out, how do you tap in best? Because even like when you think about meditation, some people are talking about sitting still and they do guided meditation. Other people are like, I kind of walk and I have to do some movement. Everybody's different. So we have to teach what's best for you. How do you get in alignment? Some people journal, you know. For
Mhm.
me, I use chakras. Sometimes I use other tools as well. I love oracle cards, all of those things. We have multiple things at our disposal. So it's really about teaching my clients, how do you build this toolbox? What things can you put in the toolbox that you feel work for you? Because sometimes it could be journaling, but if you're at work, well, you may not be able to take out your journal at that time. So
Mhm.
so we've got to teach you a different skill that you can use while you're working. And being an entrepreneur, here's the thing, it's a journey, and it really is a self journey. If you haven't figured that out, or you don't know that, entrepreneurship is such a self journey. So the key to that is tap into alignment, tap into the force, so you can get that energy to make the journey simpler.
Nice. Okay, so here's a question.
Mhm.
You mentioned that when you're still and you're quiet, you can hear the answers that are coming to you. But what if I can't hear the answers? What are some other ways that I know I'm aligned and that the force is speaking to me, quote unquote?
Absolutely. And you know what? We have so many different resources. I love. The divine just made us beautifully. I'm a feeling person, so I don't necessarily hear the information, so I'm very much emotional. So it's like, how do I feel? Do I feel good? Do I feel like full of energy? Do I feel vibrant? And that for me is how I know I'm on the right track. Like when you make a decision and you get all excited and it just starts ticking and you feel like, oh yeah, this comes and that comes and this comes. You're like, oh wait. So for some people, it's going to be like that. It's not the still quiet where they're going to get their information. It's going to be a feeling, and then that feeling builds and the energy builds and their passion comes. So we have very much different ways of kind of connecting. So I work with my clients to kind of hone in to say, how do you know and you feel it and you just kind of that gut knowing? Because that's the another thing. Some people are just gut knowers. They're like, no, I just know this is the right thing. So we tap into what I call even the clairs, the clairvoyance, the clairaudio. So how do you get your messaging? And then from there, adding your tools that work best for you.
That is so great. So, okay, I come to you. Let's talk business first, right?
Okay. Uh-huh.
Because spoiler alert, I am working with LaShonda for my business. And so, as a business client, then, what would be some simple steps people can take right now uh, to start becoming aligned with the force, to know they are, and actually start creating some movement, positive movement in their business?
Okay, so here's one of the fun techniques that I love to teach people. Think about, and especially in business. So think about it like if you want to sit and meditate or you just want to be outside, however you're most comfortable, that brings you ease and peace. That's first.
Okay.
So you get into your peaceful space, wherever that is for you, could be your car, because that's your only quiet place. And I want you to think and just close your eyes and imagine you have a board, and this is a board that runs your life. So you might have a board member that talks about, your ethics and being ethical. You might have another board member that talks to you about your feelings. And oh, this doesn't quite feel right. And I don't know. But you create all the board members, like maybe 5 people, 3 people, depending on how you want to start. But you create these board members and you give them names. And they could be famous people for you, they could be people you don't even know, whatever. But you create this board and whatever is important, like your values. So you have somebody who deals with your values, your core values. And so what you do, and if you can do it every morning, it's wonderful. You check in with your board to say, okay, how do I want to deal with this? Okay, so what do I need to be feeling today? What are the values I need to keep top of mind? And your board members are going to tell you. And don't think of it as like, oh, is this, just feel it. And you'll know when it's right for you. And the longer you do that process, the easier it'll be for you to have this conversation with the board you created. And you can add people and take away people. And you're like, okay, I want guidance on this, or I really need this person sitting at the table. And you create this. And it's you, because I want people to really understand that force, it lives in you. So you are the guru. You have the power. We just have to trust it a lot of times. And we do that a lot of times by practice. Just keep practicing. Because the worst thing that happens is the board tells you stuff and you don't listen. See what happens.
So you're getting guidance from your own soul and you're not
Yes,
listening.
yes. Because we do that a lot, don't we?
We surely do. You know why? Because your head gets in the way. And that's a really good question. So discerning between I have an idea. So I think we already covered that. If you can feel it, if you can see it, if you can hear it, if you use your clairs, you literally don't use just your gray matter, then you can kind of gauge, okay, yes, that is in alignment with the force, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, give your mind a place at the table because it's going to be there anyway.
Give your mind something to do.
Yes. Give it a place, honor it because it's there for a reason. We need, we always like to kind of like, I hear people talk about crushing the ego and all this stuff.
Right.
Give it a place because it does have value. It absolutely has value. So you won't be fighting against yourself so much.
Nice. Very, very, very well put. So, can this board then, let's shift from, so someone would come to you as a business client for what particularly do you specialize in for business clients?
So basically, I deal with, like you said earlier, like really creative entrepreneurs, spiritual entrepreneurs that want to make an impact in the world. So they're coming to me to help make their business move forward, to grow and ease and joy. Because a lot of information is out there,
Mhm.
and sometimes we're not clear on, okay, what should I do? And it kind of doesn't fit because it doesn't talk to our spiritual base. And if you're a creative entrepreneur, it kind of doesn't feel right. It feels just all business. It feels too stiff for them.
Yeah.
So I help them create, like I said, this business that's their joy, that fits their personality of who they are. So we talk about that soul first because they are a human having, they're a spiritual being. So we start there. So we make sure that even the business they're choosing is in alignment with who they are. Because otherwise, it's just not going to be fun. It's going to feel like you just signed up for another job.
Right. So you help them then with clearly knowing the content that they are wanting to develop.
Yes. So it's content, it's your marketing, it's your messaging, and your systems, because that's a big deal for people. It's like, how do I create a system that I spend more time with the things I love? Like a lot of people, for example, we have a new marketing program. And a lot of people, when you say marketing, are like, I didn't go into business to be a marketer. They want to do what their gifts and talents are. So we help them create a simple, easy system. So yes, you market because you need people to come in so that you actually have a profitable business. But we help them do that with ease that fits, and creating systems that fit what they want to do, that's in alignment.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So you literally help them. And when you mean systems, you mean pick which tech, whatever, whether it's an email server, whether it's a website, even if they need a website or not need a website, you help them to determine the tech part of their business as well as their marketing, their messaging, and I believe you said the core values so that they can put out into the world what is really in alignment with them.
Oh, absolutely. And we really focus in on, I call it your entrepreneur superpowers, because I believe everyone has special gifts and talents that they bring in the world, and they put their slant and their nuance in it that makes it so uniquely them and different. So we really teach them how to shine. Once again, it's that spirit, that soul coming through, and making sure that that is prevalent in the business.
Love it. So how long is a program with you? I mean, I know everybody's coming in with different needs. Maybe someone already has their marketing, maybe someone already has their tech and they're comfortable there. I mean, I know there's tweaking, but where do you even start if I'm coming to you as a client for business? What would you suggest the first steps would be?
Sure. What I do, which is, sort of non-traditional, counterintuitive to some, but I just like to meet people, and I like to see what your needs are, and to find out what are your priorities. So that way, when I'm offering you something that fits your needs. So it could be individually working with me. And it could be for, my minimum is 3 months, so we can really hash things out and get it going. And also, life happens. So I want you to be successful in there. If it's a couple weeks and something happens in your life, then you feel like, oh, I didn't get it done. And then there's the shame and the guilt. And we want to avoid all of that. So realistically, it's 3 months if you want to do one-on-one. But I also offer programs, because sometimes we just want to hone in on one particular thing. Like you said, it could just be marketing. It could just be, I really need to hone in on my ideal client. So we do offer programs, and they're normally shorter term. They're like 6 weeks that we're focusing in on a particular topic. And we even do shorter things like workshops. That's one evening. It's like an hour and a half that we just do exercises and we get some things done, so you feel like you're moving forward in your business. But I'm more than open to having conversations with people, because you'll hear me over and over say right fit, alignment, right fit, alignment, right fit. There's not a one size that fits all.
That's for sure. So we have your private business coaching. You've talked about your one-off trainings. Tell me a little bit about, please, your group mastermind for marketing.
Yes. So that is our newest project because we have found that entrepreneurs kind of, you mentioned marketing, it's like a black hole because
Mhm.
there's so much stuff up in there. So we've created what I call a year-long support for marketing. We do the heavy lifting for you. We create the major events for you, and you could just get to participate and show off your gifts and talents. So it's a beautiful thing to make it easier for entrepreneurs. We help you create that marketing plan, create the messaging, create the little pieces like people say freebies and give out content. Well, what am I giving? We help you with all of that. And the beauty of it is we do it as a group. So you're not just getting me, you're getting other people in their zone of genius. And that just makes it even more powerful.
Yeah, the group energy and the group messaging and the group experience, because we, as one person, cannot experience everything.
No.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
How about your Facebook group? Why would people go there? What you offer in your Facebook group?
Absolutely. The Facebook group has been an evolving thing. And it's one of those things where you can talk to me, but you talk to others in the community. You can ask questions, you can get resources. It's a place that it's not time sensitive, so anytime you happen to be on Facebook, you can ask and we will respond to you. We will give you the answers or resources, and someone else may even respond quicker than I do, which is the beauty of being a part of a community.
That sure is. Now, is this a business-based Facebook group?
I say it's create a business and a life that you love, because I do periodically do programs that's just about self. Because I do have other people that come in and they're like, yeah, I'm not ready to start a business, but I want to do the self work. I want to do that spiritual work. I want to connect to the force, even with the chakras, all of that. So periodically throughout the year, I will do things that are not just about business because I love it.
Great. What do you give to your email community?
Oh, email community, I think it's fun, so I hope they do too. But 2 times a month, I do a newsletter, and in the newsletter, it's super short because I'm not this big writer and putting a lot of things in there. So I do a video. So I call it a vlog, and I give tips and resources, but I also will give you exercises to do because I'm always wanting you to move forward. So I will challenge you to think about something and, okay, here's the parameters. Now you figure it out for yourself or for your business, depending on what we're talking about. So I will always keep having you do things to move you forward, to connect to your spirit, to make sure you're in alignment to create what you love.
I'm excited to be in your community. I'm just saying that right now, everybody. I know you have a class coming up. I know this is January 2021. So in the future, this may not be 100% time sensitive info, but in February 2021, you have a class which I cannot wait to attend.
Yeah, it's super exciting. We've kind of pulled together pieces from older classes we've done, and we created this class about the force and really kind of mastering that. And how do you do that? How do I connect? So I gave you like one tip today, but we really go deep in that. And so that you can spend time with us, we're going to do a short version, like a workshop where it's just one night, and then we're going to do a longer program for 6 weeks. So for those who want to go deep and can want to try things out and say, hey, LaShonda, I tried this and I got this response. So we can tweak and we can change it so that you can start to really trust yourself. So you can really start to see the signs that are around you so that you can tap into the force and get in alignment. So I'm super, that's like one of my things that I geek out on. I love it. I absolutely love it.
So that's bringing me back around to I focused on first your business and your business clients and the beautiful offerings that you have for them. So let's kind of circle back to your private clients for their creating the life that they want. Um, so clearly, the Force Workshop would be an incredible place to be.
Mhm.
Your blog, your vlog, rather, your newsletter, your Facebook group, and we briefly touched on the chakra analysis. So I think people may be very interested in that offering.
Can I just say, that is so fun. Ah, I love to work with creatives because I'm a creative. And when I get to sort of play, I call it play,
Mm.
um, because it's such a beautiful experience. It doesn't feel like work. So the chakra analysis is really, like I said, I work with the seven chakras and I go in and I let people know whether their chakras are open or closed. And so when your chakras are open, that means there's movement, which is what we want. There's nothing stuck or stagnant in your body. But when they're closed, that's what's happening. You're stuck and you're stagnant. So there's pieces of your life that you feel like, they're just not moving. They're just not working right. So in that analysis, I'll let you know what's open and closed. And let me just be clear, chakras change because incidents happen in your life and experiences happen. So things can shift. So at the moment that you're coming to me, we talk about that. We talk about patterns. Maybe certain things have been closed for a while or they open and they close pretty quickly
Mm.
because you're still kind of stuck in that area. And then what I do is once we realize what's open and closed, we spend a lot of time about what's closed. And we talk about ways of opening it back up. Everywhere from food to behavior to different patterns to spiritual rituals that you need to do. We cover all of that depending on what it is in your life. So, like, let's say it's a relationship issue and it's maybe in your root. We will talk about how do you cut cords? How do you, if that relationship is over and it's draining you, how do you cut cords? And so we'll talk about that. And I'll give you what I call, quote unquote, a prescription on how to cut cords with that relationship. And then how do you heal and rejuvenate yourself and get that energy flowing?
Wow. So this could also help your business clients. It's not just
Oh,
personal clients.
absolutely. You can totally, because sometimes our chakras and the closeness is impacting our business because realistically, as an entrepreneur, you bring you to the table. So if there's some area that you're stuck in, it probably is impacting your business.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, especially if you walk in, I mean, we all know this. You can tell when someone walks in a room who's just had an unpleasant experience, whether it was traffic or a phone conversation, they're exuding that energy. And now let's say that just happened and you're sitting down at your entrepreneurial business. Well, what's going to come out of your email or your content that you're creating?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you're going to be stuck and you're like frustrated. So the ideas aren't there. You're not in alignment. Once again, you're not connected to source at that moment. So it's like, okay, let's go to our toolbox. What do we do to connect really quickly so that we can get back in alignment and make the work easier and just flow, and sometimes we have triggers, right? And so we'll talk about that a little bit when we do the chakra readings as well. I go into that in a different program, but our triggers, what are those things that keep coming up for those? And that's the patterns. That's the patterns that we deal with.
Right. So we briefly talked about for a business client, you you recommend a 3 month to start out with so that you get to know them, they get to know you, and they see some positive movement even as life happens. Uh, for a personal client, is there any particular time frame that you work with people?
Yeah, if you want to just do the chakra reading so
Mhm.
that you get a sense of what your chakras are and get what I call your prescription, you're more than welcome to just do that. If there's something you're saying, okay, LaShonda, there's some
Well,
persistent.
how long is that? What's involved in the chakra reading? Sorry.
Absolutely. That one is about an hour
Okay.
for us to do that. And more so, not for me to do the reading. The reading actually can be done in about 5 or 10 minutes. I can tell you all the chakras and what's open, closed.
Mhm.
And then we spend the time on the plan, I call it, actually a plan for those closed chakras. And we talk about those patterns to make sure that I give you sort of a bunch of tools that you can use when they close again. So we spend the meat of the time on that piece of, okay, how do I keep myself in alignment? How do I keep myself moving in those particular areas? And we can talk about the ones that are open, that are
Mhm.
open as well, just so that you're clear on how to keep those open and keep those moving if there's something you're feeling I'm not sure about. So that session is about an hour long. Where we do that. If people want something longer because they're feeling like, okay, there's something lingering, or like I said, there's a pattern that they really want to break, then depending on the situation, I normally do a month for that, for a particular issue, so
Okay.
that we can meet weekly and we can kind of do updates and tweaks, and we can say, okay, this is working, but this isn't. So how do we create a new plan for you?
Ah, that's perfect. Yeah, because we all know that when life does happen, if we haven't really embraced our tools and embraced our alignment with the force, it's very simple to get stuck in the same exact place again and again and again.
Oh, totally, totally. And it's like one of the programs that you offer about dropping baggage,
Right.
because we haven't dropped it.
Right.
We're still stuck.
Yes.
So, yeah, so that's going to come up. It absolutely, if there's a major issue going on, that's absolutely going to come up. And so I take solving that from a spiritual base, looking at, this dysfunction, this dis-ease. Let's look at it from a spiritual perspective. And from all of the certifications and things like that, we throw it all in the hat. So if you're a woman, I may come at you with what I call, womb reiki or womb steaming, because I take that from a spiritual place and looking at, okay, because our womb is our creative center for women. So, how do we make sure that that's clear? Because if your creative space isn't clear and it's blocked, there's no way you're going to create the life that you love.
Absolutely. I think it's so much easier well, I'm just going to speak for myself. It's so much easier for me to feel the spiritual connection in the head. It's so very simple for me to feel my heart. I mean, there's different sensations in both when I know that there's an alignment. And then when I get down to the root chakra, because I feel as if, since your root chakra is all about your safety, and when you don't feel safe, you feel fear. And fear is such a dark energy. It's just no light can get through that, right?
Yeah.
So I feel that the lower chakras are sometimes very tricky. And there's your womb. How can you create if your womb is in darkness?
Absolutely. And for women, that's one of our sacred gifts is our womb, whether you create children or not.
Right.
It's a life-giving center, life-giving, birthing ideas, birthing generations, birthing our world, nurturing that, caring for that. So if there's things, and we were never taught this. So I want to give women permission and an out here that if this is like, I don't know how to do any of this, you were never taught this. This is not in our Western society where we ever taught these things. We didn't even know these things existed. Like even in your womb, the 7 main chakras that are in your body are also in your womb.
Now, see, I did not know that. I learn something every day.
See, because we were never taught that. That's how powerful that womb is. It's amazing. So, really dealing with people just learning themselves because they're like, yeah. And then I'll get women who say, you know what, something felt funny there, but it was nothing sexual or anything, but it just felt kind of, yeah, because it's a powerful place trying to talk to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you can feel it for the first time.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. So we're such amazing beings. I'm always in awe. It's like, wow, awesome. Totally awesome. So
I love that you have literally, for yourself and for the rest of us, it feels to me, and I get the sense from you after having worked with you, that another very fundamental part of what you offer is not only connecting with the force and aligning with the force so that we can feel that we are aligned with something greater than ourselves, but you really give people permission to not only align with themselves, but to love themselves and to accept themselves and actually be okay, which is even more important than anything else. They are okay with being themselves.
oh my gosh, yes. That is my tribe. My tribe are people who are like, you know what? I'm not exactly like whatever that cookie cutter thing is in your world. And I just want to be me and all the quirkiness and all of that. And absolutely, it is a safe place to be yourself. And you're welcome and you're accepted and you're honored for that difference. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's a joy to have people around you who bring a whole different perspective and their own uniqueness. It's what makes, I feel like, gives our life color. It's beautiful.
Yeah, like a tapestry, right? Every thread in
Yeah.
that tapestry is needed, and there's very unique shades and lengths and all of that, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, I welcome people to just embrace themselves. Embrace yourself as you grow. Maybe you're like, oh, I don't want to be that anymore. Okay, fine. You get to choose. You're the guru. You get to choose who you want to be.
And that's so beautiful because bring it all back around to business coaching, because I know you have so much knowledge with business that anybody that's having struggles with the items that we talked about, being clear on their messaging and their marketing and their systems, and even just aligning with themselves on what they're putting out there in the world. Um, all of the foundational work to be okay with themselves will even change their business.
Oh, tenfold, tenfold. People use the word about being authentically you. Well, that's okay, but first you have to love you because if you don't love you, you don't want to be you. So you have to have people be really love themselves. So then when they put themselves out in the world, they're okay with being authentically themselves. But it starts with that first piece of loving yourself because if I don't really like me, you're telling me to be authentic, but I don't like who that is. So it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. And so that's where people sometimes struggle a lot. And so sometimes, like I said, throughout the year, I won't do a business program. I'll do what it's called Connecting to the Real You program. And that really morphs into people learning who they are, loving themselves, embracing who they are, because that's the core really of our life.
Absolutely. And, we both know that as soon as you can accept yourself, it has a phenomenal, unexpected ripple effect in your life that all of a sudden you can accept other people. And that person that literally is in your crawl just thinking about them, all of a sudden you can think about them and it's okay that they are the same person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because they become a teacher.
Right.
They become this teacher in a mirror. It's like, this is triggering me. Well, what is this triggering? And then focus doesn't become them anymore.
Right. Right. You can leave them over there to be them and you can just do your own little alignment and get with the force and you're good to go.
Right. Exactly. And then life is good again. And guess what? It's in your control.
Right. Right. Wow. So much. We have covered so much ground.
Yes. Oh,
And LaShonda, I could literally we could talk for hours. I would love to have you back, especially when you're promoting when you have a new offering that really speaks to your soul that we haven't talked about today and that our audience would just absolutely love to know about.
okay.
So we'll keep that open for another time.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Lovely. So, LaShonda, thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us today. I treasure all of your insights and your wisdom, which has been so informative for all of us.
I absolutely love being here. Like I told you, I can geek out and talk about this for hours because I feel it's so important and we all need it and none of us were taught it. So if you're just learning this for the first time, be patient and loving with yourself.
Be kind, pretend you're a friend, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And to everyone watching, thank you for joining us for this episode of the Happiness Retreat. I hope you have gotten some inspiration, some motivation, some guidance, and some clarity in your connection with your soul and becoming the master of your own energy. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Until next time.